Hello, I'm Dr. Garrett Boyer. Welcome to Gospel Minded, an outreach of Benedictus Psychological Services. Check out that website, benedictuspsych.com. Here at Gospel Minded, we spend a few minutes each week talking about psychology, emotions, mental health, and well-being. And we reflect on how these important topics are related to the Sunday Gospel reading. Again, like I point out every week, this is no substitute for actually getting yourself to church, going to spiritual direction, counseling, therapy, mentorship, coaching, if you're involved with any of those kind of practices. But like we know so well, things of our mind and our psychology so often go beautifully together with our spirituality. If you are new to this channel, welcome. If you are seeing this again, welcome back. Either way, I hope that you will like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss an episode of Gospel Minded. My friends, I am traveling this weekend. I'm in the beautiful city of Montgomery, Alabama, which is a lovely place with so much history. I'm just a stone's throw away from the church where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had been the pastor, the spot where Rosa Parks was arrested. It's just a fascinating city, and so I'm glad to be here this weekend. The gospel this weekend also has some really interesting stuff to talk about. It's the story from Luke's gospel about the road to Emmaus. Two of the disciples were traveling, and the way Luke's gospel describes it is Jesus walks with them, and yet the way it says their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. And I thought, boy, what a powerful phrase. Their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. You know, for whatever reason, their eyes were prevented at that time from recognizing Jesus. I don't know. But as I think about my own life, that of people that I work with as a therapist, probably you too in your own life, there are things that happen to us that prevent us from recognizing Jesus, from recognizing truths in our own lives. And as I spent some time kind of thinking about this, some of the real issues that prevent people from recognizing these fundamental truths about themselves or truths about their lives or their situations are these thought traps. Thought traps. And I think I've talked about thought traps maybe some time ago, but I think it's worth revisiting today because as I think about the people that I've worked with and look at my own life, thought traps so often prevent me from recognizing important truths. So have a look at this image here. These are the thought traps that I want to talk about today. This first one that is listed here is this idea of catastrophizing. I see this all the time, and I do it myself. And it's a real thought trap that causes some problems for folks. This idea that something can happen, and maybe in reality it's not such a big deal, but boy, we can catastrophize and blow it up in our heads to be the biggest deal ever. I made a mistake. That's it. I'm done. My boss is going to fire me. I forgot to put a header on this Word document. I didn't convert it to a PDF. I yelled at my kids. I took a right-hand turn when the light was red in a no right-hand turn lane. You know, whatever it could be. A lot of times it's stuff that really isn't so consequential, but boy, we can start to catastrophize and make it a big deal in our head. It's a thought trap, and it can prevent us from recognizing more important stuff. Discounting the positive. This is another big one, and this is one that I notice people who spend a lot of time up in their own mind really get wrapped up with, this idea of discounting the positive. Has it ever happened to you that you've done really well on a project, had something good going on, and you got one piece of negative feedback? Or like the kid in school or college who has a test and they get 99 out of 100. Where does the mind almost automatically go to? It goes to that one that I got wrong. But man, you got 99 out of 100 right. That is really good. But there's this tendency that we have, if we fall into these thought traps, to discount the positive. I'll forget about the 99 that I got right and think about just that one problem that I got wrong. Or if somebody gives me a lot of really good feedback about a job well done, and one person suggests an improvement or a critique, darned if the mind doesn't almost automatically want to go to that one negative thing and we discount the positive. It's a thought trap, and it can prevent us from recognizing things that are important. This idea of all or nothing thinking, the next one on our list here, this is a big one. And I think, boy, in an environment where, um, politically speaking, it's this culture that we've almost got that everything has to be my way all the time or nothing. It's we're sort of immersed in this environment of it's all my way or the highway. When we start to apply that kind of thinking to our day-to-day lives, it creates a tremendous trap which can get us into a whole lot of problems and prevent us from recognizing the fundamental truths that it very, very rarely will happen, that we get things that's everything or nothing, all my way or nothing. And so we got to be cautious about that all or nothing kind of thinking. Personalization. This is another one that can really cause some problems for us when we start to personalize the way we perceive others thinking about us. Boy, this person didn't. This person didn't greet me today, and so they must really be mad at me. Well, maybe it doesn't have anything to do with you at all. Maybe they've got something else going on this morning, or maybe your spouse kind of is gruff and not giving you the kind of attention perhaps that they otherwise would. In our mind, we can get into these traps of thinking, well, they must really be mad at me, when perhaps it's not anything like that at all. Maybe they're preoccupied with something else. But those thought traps can really prevent us from recognizing that maybe it doesn't have anything to do with me at all. Maybe it is something different that's impacting the way that they're relating to me. Then this mind reading one. I am not a mind reader, and neither are you. That's why conversations and relationships and interaction with other people are so important, because we're not mind readers. And yet so often we believe that we know what's going on in somebody else's mind. Oh, they must be thinking this about me because of X, Y, or Z. When in reality, we probably don't have any actual proof of that. But in our mind, we can fall into this thought trap that we can read the minds of others. We know exactly what they're thinking. We know what they believe of us. And if we connect that to some of this discounting positive or everything or nothing, maybe our as it were knee-jerk reaction is to believe that I know what's going on in the mind of somebody else about me, and it's all negative. Come on, that's not how it typically works. And then overgeneralizing. I think the example on that sheet is all the other meetings that I've been to have been terrible, and so this one is going to be terrible too. Or, I had a bad experience at this restaurant chain once, so they must all be really bad. We got to be cautious about overgeneralizing, because it's a thinking trap, and it can prevent us from really having good positive experiences if we let one negative experience color the way we think about any other subsequent experience. So these thought traps can really cause a lot of problems for us. I've experienced it myself. I've seen it in the lives of other people that I've worked with. And the disciples on the road to Emmaus, their eyes were prevented from recognizing it was the Lord. But he gave them a great grace by the end of the scriptures. He revealed himself to them. He made himself known in the breaking of the bread. And then they were enlightened. Were our hearts not burning within us? My hope and prayer for you and for me is that the thought traps that prevent us from recognizing important things about ourselves, about the world around us, that the Lord will help us to get out of those thought traps, to recognize the kinds of things that are going to help me to be the very best person I can be, to live a life of virtue and act with charity towards the people around me, to build up the kingdom of God. So, really good stuff to think about and talk about today. I hope you'll join me next week. We'll have more great things to talk about. Between now and then, let's keep one another in prayer. I'm Dr. Garrett Boyer. This is Gospel Minded. Take care.